Welcome to another episode of the Lovers and Things podcast,
where your favorite couple's favorite couple
talks about the things they love. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're not gonna get
That's
into
what
it.
we're
We're not
on
gonna get
today.
into who's Beyonce here, okay? Because
It's-
clearly you're showing out.
And there's no need for discussion. It's assumed.
Okay, all right.
Welcome.
We'll see about that.
I am Lex.
And I'm Greg.
And welcome to another episode, guys.
We're back, y'all.
We're starting hot. I don't know if you guys have been listening for a while. You remember that, like, in the beginning of our episodes, I used to give a little razzle dazzle, a little vocality for the people.
Vocality, y'all.
And I'm bringing it back in 2024.
I'm here for it.
a little
Minus
something.
the upstaging of me.
Oh!
I'm here for it.
But you know what, babe? I never want that to be the case. So, like, if you ever want room to shine, let me know and I'll back off.
Okay. All right, Beyonce.
Well, anyway, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about to be your birthday.
It's about to be my birthday. Hence
By
why
the
I'm so
time-
happy to be here.
Yeah, by the time everyone listens to this, it's going to be your birthday have passed.
My birthday would have passed. You guys listening to this on a Tuesday, and my birthday is on the 15th of January.
MLK Day.
MLK Day, baby.
You know, I just want to say I love you
Oh,
on your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
baby.
Happy birthday to. Oh, I'm not gonna do the people. Okay, but anyway,
Thank you, honey.
there'll be lots of birthday singing and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, you're
Yeah.
like my Coretta Scott King.
Okay.
You just lifted me up through all these years. You held me down.
Don't call me Coretta. Not in this climate. And frankly, you know what? Growing up, I was always really proud of being born on the same day as Martin Luther King.
Uh-huh.
Like, not just the holiday weekend, but like we share the same birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm more aligned with, like, the life and justice learnings of MLK.
Civil rights activist.
But don't call me Coretta, because right now it's a little
by
hot.
the way. Just because people will take me seriously that I'm walking around
Yeah.
a la Jonathan Majors.
A la
and
Jonathan
saying my wife's
Majors.
my wife's a Coretta Scott King.
Yeah.
Although you're amazing.
Thank you, honey. I like to think so.
But it don't need all that.
I
don't even really know much about Coretta Scott King and what she's done in MLK's life.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
it wouldn't be a reference I'd pull.
Now, it wouldn't be a reference you pull, and it shouldn't have been a reference that Jonathan Majors pulls. So maybe we should talk. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, because he did an interview with ABC News.
Y'all know we have talked
the
about.
other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was last Monday, not this. Yeah, last Monday. And you guys know that we have talked about Jonathan Majors on this podcast for a couple of reasons.
For a very long time
For
now.
a very long time. I
'Cause
feel like
he's-
we can't let it go.
Because he was on a rise. I
He's
mean,
on the rise.
I even feel bad saying was.
Oh, God, because that's past
He-
tense, yeah?
I guess factually he was on a rise.
Yeah. It is
You
what
can say that, right?
it is. What it is.
Yeah.
And I think we had talked about in the Give Black Men Grace episode.
Yeah. One of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, one of our favorite
Selfishly.
episodes. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good one. We're talking about him and Michael B. Jordan because Creed was about to come out, but like Jonathan Majors at that time was in all sorts of stuff. Like he was
killing it.
you couldn't avoid the man.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets into this domestic squabble with his girlfriend at the time.
Oh, so embarrassing.
Had us all on our toes because it went to trial.
Yeah, and it was very documented. There was
Heavily.
the footage of him running down the streets
Child,
away
that
from
sent
her.
me. Did we talk about that?
Yeah,
Or did we avoid it? Because there are some topics that we'll avoid on the podcast
yeah.
because we don't want to
And we
be
don't-
too early to make decisions
or we don't know
or
enough, right.
judgment. Yeah. We don't want to be quick to judge.
But yeah, he was running down the streets, and then that turned into a whole a trial.
Didn't
and
it?
a whole situation. I guess the state was going after him,
Yeah, not the girl
not necessarily
himself.
like a civil. It wasn't civil. It was like a
Yeah.
I don't know what the opposite of civil is.
I think it's still criminal.
Criminal?
Yeah,
Okay.
the state on behalf of his ex-girlfriend,
Mhm.
Grace Jabari.
Jabari.
Grace
A white
Jabari. Right. She's white. Yeah.
The last name
she's not a
Jabari.
black
That's
woman.
interesting.
Yeah. On behalf
she's
of
South
her.
African.
No, nah. I heard her talk.
That
It's
Jabari-
giving European vibes. It's giving European vibes, which is fine.
Hmm.
Do what you like.
Yeah.
But he was found guilty of, I think it was like unintentional harassment or something like
Mhm.
that. Something something minor.
Yeah.
But it led to him, obviously being dropped from all of his
Right.
contracts, and it happened like that. The
Right.
minute they released that verdict, the poor guy was released from every contract that he
Yeah.
was expected to execute.
And there was a clip of a phone call they had, or at least a recording of a conversation that him and his ex had,
Mm-hmm.
where he's demanding more of her.
Yeah.
He wants her to rise up to the expectations that he
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah.
He says he needs her to be his Coretta Scott King.
I
And
can't even
what was
take
the
it
other one?
seriously.
Coretta Scott King. His
It was
Michelle
his
Obama.
Michelle Obama.
Ooh.
Ooh, child, when the internet heard that, because to be fair, the optics just aren't great. You're
Yeah.
telling we just gonna be real here. We're telling your very unblack girlfriend,
white girlfriend
that she needs to show up as Michelle Obama.
That's a little
Scott
bit too much
King.
to ask of a girlfriend
Yeah.
and of a white woman. Michelle Obama.
It's just like, it's a
Coretta
lot.
Scott
Like,
King.
she'll never be able to do it. But I do think, though, just quick aside, I think one of the reasons why I just thought that was a stupid comparison is because, he wasn't trying to say she needed to be a black woman. What he was trying to say is she needed to be supportive and someone of presence and class, and carried them some well, and supported what he believes himself to be, which is an amazing man. His words, not mine. So anyway, he was trying to get her to be Coretta. The internet ran with that, and it became a whole firestorm. But let me tell you, during this interview that he recently did, again last Monday, with an interviewer, Lindsay Davis, who I'd never heard of before, but she did a fabulous job. Megan Good, his new girlfriend, who we've seen him go to trial with, was in the space. And she asked him, she says, "Jonathan, how are things going with Megan?" And he's like, "She's an angel. She's wonderful. She's like my Coretta." And at that point, I wanted to turn it off. At that point, I was like, does this man not learn?
Let go
Where
of
is
the
his
Coretta
team?
Scott King references.
Where is his PR team? Who told him to say that?
I don't think he got one.
I don't think he got
or at
one
least
either.
He don't got a good one.
I don't think he has one either. The man has been making nothing but bad moves since the trial began. His lawyer's trash.
So? Yeah, you think he's been not stepping right?
Yeah, his lawyer's trash. Released too much information too soon. And then his PR team is letting this man say all sorts of stuff that the internet has already deemed unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's unreasonable.
So, I guess walk the people through, what are some of the things that you noticed?
Yeah, I
know you got the background in it and all that.
Yeah, you guys know, or some of you guys don't know, that I've been working in PR communications for over 10 years now. That is my career, y'all. And a piece of that is crisis communication and also talent management. And so whenever you have talent that is prepared to speak on any sort of crisis topic, and Jonathan Majors, without a doubt, is in crisis. This is a crisis moment. There are things that you do and you don't do, right? Your PR team is usually the one that does the vetting of the social space to understand how the world views you at that moment.
Okay.
So that you can craft your narrative to turn it in a way that's positive for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the internet is already saying that the Coretta line was trash, why then would you double down on the Coretta line? The way I would have had Jonathan Majors together, Jonathan, call me. Okay? If you need a PR specialist, I'm your girl, because I would have never let you go out like that.
Yeah.
Never let you go out like that.
And then I think we're talking about this, and it's just one, why even speak about it? What is the interview going to do for anything other than
another bad move?
Give more ammunition for people to pick and pull and put your words under scrutiny. And any misstep is going to be magnified. So why do the interview at all?
I thought it was a bad move. And you guys remember maybe a couple years ago, the actor Nate Parker. Nate Parker was also a golden boy a couple of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. His movie, what was it called?
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, Birth of a
Nation. Came out. He directed it. I think he largely funded it. He starred in it. Was supposed to be a really big deal, Oscar worthy, Oscar buzz, all that kind of stuff. The minute that thing got released is the minute that some negative stuff about Nate Parker came up, stuff that happened in his past. Old stuff. So not similar to Jonathan Majors in that regard, but it was another, interracial relationship doing with a white woman who eventually, unfortunately took her life. Terrible look for Nate Parker.
Yeah, it was rough news.
Terrible. Terrible. But Nate Parker did an interview very similar to this interview with Jonathan Majors.
It didn't work out.
Vibes were the same. Very condescending, very
Like he's defending himself
defending himself,
more.
no sense of accountability.
Mm,
And very much this sense of like elevated self, like Jonathan Majors and Nate Parker in both of their interviews felt untouchable. Like they read as untouchable
right.
and unrelatable, and that
And
never
and
serves
if we
you.
look at the crystal ball of the
Mhm.
future, what happened to Nate Parker?
Oh, child, nothing. We never heard from him again.
Okay.
we
So
we
recent
never heard from him again.
it's always good to learn from recent history.
I agree.
So recent history
Yeah.
that happens to Nate Parker.
Mhm.
Something somebody can draw the parallels to your situation.
They
What you
are
do, you
obvious.
follow his script.
You follow his script
You
and
want
do
to
an
wind up in
interview.
his position. It seems like that. If you're going to do what he's going to do, in my opinion.
I think the only thing Jonathan Majors did that was different was get him a Megan Good. The minute he was
His
like,
Coretta,
"Look, I need
apparently.
a black woman stat because black
Yeah.
women fix everything." Yes, we do.
Yeah.
He got him a black woman stat, but like it doesn't feel authentic. Like
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't have said anything from a PR pro perspective. And I have seen some crises. I would have not said anything. I would have let it right out.
Hmm.
Come back in 6 months, 9 months, give the audience and the industry a chance to get through whatever feelings they have about you and try again.
Come back with some art.
Yeah, come back with some art. Come back
Let
with
your art
something
speak.
fire.
Because honestly,
Mhm.
he did not really have a public persona outside of his art anyway. So why all of a sudden now, when things are bad for you, you want to start speaking up, which
Nah.
is all the
No,
more.
no, no, no.
And the one thing I I always feel like is a pitfall is
Mhm.
when you name the monster. When you
Mhm.
give the monster a name. By that I mean the murmurs and the rumors are you're canceled, you're going through this, you're going through
Mhm.
that, you're not gonna get is he gonna get a gig again?
Mhm.
Let the murmurs happen. But then
Yeah.
when you come out and then you explicitly say, I don't want to I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to do
Yeah.
this thing. You acknowledge the monster and now you've
Mhm.
made it a part of your environment. And because it came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I think just like you're saying, taking a break and then, you could say you went through anger management, you went
Mhm.
through some healing process after a few months.
People love a
Um,
redemption story.
that's what's not like I don't want to deal with like that. I think that does more damage for
Mhm.
your journey as
Mhm.
you go through the struggle than just kind of letting the people deal with it.
Yeah.
Good example is Will Smith. Will Smith went up
Yeah.
there and slapped Chris Rock
Yes, he did.
and it disappeared.
We saw that in real time too. You remember we saw that in real
We saw
time?
that in real
And
time.
we were confused. I was like, "Is this a skit? That's not
Yeah,
funny."
that was something else, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then comes back with a subtle apology with
Mhm.
just text that has been
Mhm.
crafted, and another few months later comes with a visual statement,
Mhm.
and then give people time and then do not fuel the monster. Do not give energy to
Yeah.
it by acknowledging the monster.
Yeah.
Just saying apologize, I take accountability,
And move
and
on.
I'll be back with some art that you guys loved.
Yeah. And that's
But
exactly what he
like
did.
clawing and fighting against a monster that only you can give teeth to,
Mhm.
I think it does more damage and puts your people start to look at you as like, oh, you're going through something that you're
Mhm.
struggling through, as opposed to like magically not acknowledging something. I think
Mhm.
gives you a little bit more room for people to heal and get over it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, we like to say that the media cycle, it used to be no more than a week, but now it's like every 48 hours something new comes up. So by him doing that interview, he's cemented himself with viral clips of him
Yeah.
saying things that he cannot take back. That just it wasn't a good move. And I wish the best for him. I really was hoping that he would be our generation's, part of the Denzels, part of the
The next
Samuel L.
wave.
Jackson, yeah, the
Yeah.
next wave of American-born Black actors who are
Yeah.
really pushing the narrative forward. And I still think he has the potential,
No doubt.
but
He's very
I
talented.
very
Yeah.
talented. There's no doubt about that. But public persona is everything. And I think in today's climate, a lesson that we all can learn from this is that there is no longer space for you not to take accountability for how you contributed to anything that's happening in your lives.
Yeah.
There's no space for that. Nobody wants to see anyone walk around like they're perfect and they've never made a
Right.
mistake.
No one wants to hear the no comment. I'm
No.
not going to answer that
No.
question. People want transparency. People
Mhm.
want uh, a bit of like honest. introspective
Yeah.
feedback.
Exactly, because that showcases growth, and I think that's what people like to see, especially from people that we revere, like actors and politicians and all sorts of stuff. So,
Mm.
yeah, God bless you, Jonathan. If anything else comes up about you, we'll talk about it here on the podcast.
Yeah,
But sending you vibes, but
send yeah, and if you need PR guidance and assistance,
you can find me.
this message Lex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, and in this, we're in this conversation about Hollywood. I
Yeah.
want to switch to the Joe Coy monologue during the Golden Globes
Oh.
Awards.
You wanna share with the people who Joe Coy is? Because while
Mhm.
he's a popular stand-up comedian, I think sometimes his comedy is a little segmented, so tell us a little bit about him.
I think that's it.
That's
He's
it?
a stand-up comic,
Yeah, but
right?
I mean,
Like
he's an Asian stand-up
Asian stand-up
comedian.
comedian.
Mhm.
He's been grinding.
Yeah.
I've seen him like kind of do the circuit of comedy podcasts and really rise through his art.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure he's at the point where he's an arena comic.
Mhm.
I think he's definitely past theaters,
Yeah,
but he's like an arena comic.
I would say so.
Yeah, definitely prolific in his craft. But the stand-up comedy world, the comedy world in general, is like music, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Mhm.
It is. You can't just go to a party and just put on some music and expect everybody to dance, right?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people's comedy is for certain people,
Mhm.
and comedy is not universal. There may be some mainstream comics
Mhm.
that do very well, like a John Mulaney.
Yeah.
He's very like he has very simple topics, not really offensive
Mhm.
or controversial,
Mhm.
very clean. You think of like a Seinfeld was kind of like that. Kevin Hart is like that.
Mhm.
Very like middle of the road, relatable comedy.
Sure.
It's not a lot of you can't just put a comic in front of anybody and
Mhm.
expect everyone to enjoy it the same way.
Right.
Which is why when a moment like hosting, you get a team of people together
Mhm.
and you prepare very neutral jokes and you
Mhm.
prepare that type of stuff. At least that's the typical process
Yeah,
of
sure.
hosting.
Mhm.
Um, but Joy Coy was last minute given this opportunity
Yeah.
to host the Golden Globes, and he had a monologue that didn't wasn't received well. Is one way to
Mm.
put it.
Mm.
He bombed in this crowd.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Tough
internet
room.
says he bombed.
Yeah, it was a
That's what they're
very
saying.
tough room.
Mhm.
And I think it goes back to like what we're talking about with actors
Mhm.
and certain celebrities in Hollywood.
Mhm.
Is they're
They're a
not
little
like
tight.
they're real uptight.
Yeah.
They're really uptight. They're
Mhm.
not down to earth.
Mm-mm.
They don't they do not like to be laughed
Mm-mm.
at.
Mm-mm.
They really want to control
Yeah.
how they're received.
Mhm.
It's similar to their art. Their
Yeah.
art is really about nailing the performance to really be received a certain type of way,
Mhm.
and that's what has garnered them success
Sure.
in a room in a space of what's supposed to be relaxed
Yeah.
and a moment of getting riffed on and laughed at and joked around in relaxed space. They don't do well in that because the camera's right in front of them
Yeah.
and they really want to control how they're being received, right?
Yeah.
And what you notice during this monologue is a lot of the jokes that Joe
Mhm.
Coy was throwing out there were just
Mhm.
not landing
Yeah.
with this group.
Mhm.
For example, like there was one where he had this joke I thought was so good about Barbie, right?
You're like, this is great.
His setup was like, okay, he saw Barbie, it's compared to Oppenheimer, it was compared to this huge book about the Manhattan Project, and Barbie was compared to the film was about a plastic doll,
Mhm.
an attractive plastic doll,
Yeah.
and he's just kind of highlighting that, and then he goes more deeper into Barbie, and he goes, I don't want to mess this one up, but he was like, there's just something. He's like, it was kind of weird to be attracted to a plastic doll, and then he goes, there was just something about your eyes, Ryan, right?
So
And he
that's your
like he
eyes,
flips it,
right?
like he misdirects it and directs it to Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling,
Who plays Ken,
which
by the
was
way?
like a good joke because everyone's thinking, "Ooh, he's gonna say something about Barbie.
Mhm.
Don't say something offensive to women."
Yeah.
And then he turns it over to Ryan,
Mhm.
Ryan Gosling, and then which I thought was clever and
Yeah.
funny a
I
little.
think it's clever.
And then they pan to Ryan Gosling. He had this face. He was just like, like, bro, you couldn't even laugh at that. It was kind of funny.
They take themselves far too
It was
seriously.
so serious. And then
Yeah.
and he was just so like I can't laugh.
Yeah.
And it was so awkward in that regard.
Mhm.
And then he makes a joke about Taylor Swift. And he throws it up about basically all the coverage NFL is doing about Taylor Swift, and then he throws it like, at least here you're gonna get less coverage, and then
Yeah.
there's a joke acknowledging her presence. She's a
Yeah.
superstar.
I mean, and she ain't no actress, so she being there is just like extra
Is a
credit.
yeah, right, and that shows how popular she is.
Mhm.
And she's like sips her champagne. It's like, oh,
She
couldn't be
gave a little
bothered.
bit of like a shady
It's
eye
like, how
roll.
dare you talk?
Yeah.
That was a lob. Like that was
Yeah.
nothing.
Mhm.
But it's just the idea of like how serious they were in that room,
Yeah.
and that's what really contributes to a lot of the bombing. Is like
Mhm.
they were just so uptight.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, when I watched it, because you were telling me about it, I was like, let me watch this because, like, objectively, I want to understand, like, were the jokes bad
Uh-huh.
or was it that the audience wasn't giving enough energy for him to get through it? Because here's the thing, as a live performer, and this is, I am nobody's comedian, I'm nobody's actress, but I understand performing on a stage to some
Yeah.
degree, like with musical performances. It's
Right.
very difficult to do. It's difficult to get on a stage where there are actual live breathing individuals, a lot of them, looking at you and asking you to entertain them in some
Oh
way, right?
yeah.
So that in and of itself is a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I think for when I took a look at it, the jokes weren't bad.
Yeah.
It's just that he wasn't getting energy
The
back to
feedback.
like get
Yeah.
the momentum. And I think, there's a difference between, in my opinion, stage actors and then television,
And
movie
film.
actors,
Yeah.
film actors. Two different type of actors. I find that, and at least in the history that I've been able to gather,
Mm-hmm.
that actors who are trained in the theater make an easier transition to film, but it doesn't happen the other way around. Actors who are primarily film do not read well on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because there's a different type of acting, performance, and energy that has to happen for you to be on the stage
Live.
live. For
Yes.
you to be on the stage live
Mm-hmm.
and to make that stuff hit every single time. And so when I was looking at these film actors,
Yeah.
not giving Joe Coy the energy that he needed to get through his 10-minute monologue, I felt offended for him.
Yeah.
Because it's like the least you can do is give me a smile.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some energy. The jokes weren't bad. Did all of
Just
them
give a
hit
chuckle.
beautifully? It's like,
Yeah.
just give them a little feedback somewhere.
And it makes yourself look like you don't take yourself so seriously, and
Yeah.
it gives you a little bit more grace. Like it makes you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, you're cool. Like you're
Mhm.
relaxed and you're secure about yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You don't
and
take it too seriously, and I think that's what I didn't like about it. It just felt like you people who sit in front of a camera all day and have 10 takes to do every scene
mhm,
are, like, not laughing at this man who's trying to get
right,
something going live and in the moment with you. Get out of here.
right, and also comedy is kind of like it requires feedback.
It
Like
does.
a part of as an audience, your responsibility in some regards. Now, if something's not funny, definitely you don't have to laugh.
Yeah, of course.
But there is something to like just giving it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Like fill the air with your response, your
Mhm.
feedback and response. It's
Mhm.
kind of like when you're performing at a concert and people are not like holding up their cameras with the lights or
Yeah.
swaying or dancing and or like really like getting into the vibes or
Yeah.
singing back. Like
Yeah.
you got to give a little something
You
to the
gotta give
performer.
something. Yeah, that's just part of live
Yeah.
entertainment. Like, imagine going to a Beyonce concert and everybody sitting there like
Everybody's
this.
just looking like, oh, oh.
Like, what?
Right.
Like, that's not how that works. You have to give a little as an
Yeah.
audience member, I think.
Yeah, and I will give credit to some of the OG actors that were
Yeah.
way more relaxed.
Mhm.
Like Robert De Niro gave a good laugh
Yeah.
at a joke.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep was showing up and
She
showing
was.
out.
She was doing
Like
really well.
you could tell they've been in the game for so long. I feel like they're way more secure in
Yeah,
themselves,
they don't
so they could
care.
kid around. Like he threw a Wakanda Forever joke at Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
Like
and she
thanks for
throws up the
and she goes Wakanda Forever. Puts her arms on
She's
her
so cute.
chest.
She's
I'm
so
like,
cute.
yeah, that's what like have some fun about it.
And that's why
It was
she's
so cool.
legendary
That's
though,
why she's a
right?
legend.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm. It's interesting to see that thread in Hollywood
Mhm.
of like overly seriousness,
Mhm.
and I think this is a byproduct of OG Hollywood that
Yeah.
still is lingering. I think Hollywood in the future to
Mhm.
be successful is gonna have to lighten up and
Yeah.
give a little
Mhm.
from a ground down to earth perspective because I think that's what the audience demands.
Yeah.
Like when you think about successful actors nowadays,
Mhm.
The Rock, Kevin Hart,
Yeah, highest
they're
paid actors
highest
in
grossing,
Hollywood.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Meanwhile, they're not ashamed to go on Instagram and shoot a promo.
I see Dwayne every day.
He there's
I see Dwayne making pancakes.
right.
Like,
And then Kevin Hart's the same way. He will
mhm.
promo a film. He will promo a work of art
Mhm.
and whatever he's performing in
Yeah.
because they're not too prideful to come down to our level as the
Yeah.
audience
Mhm.
and like really stir the pot.
Yeah.
And the common theme between those two is
Mhm.
they're not trained actors.
They're not, and they're
They
live performers.
yeah, The Rock started in wrestling.
That's a performance.
That's a live thing where the people matters the most.
Mhm.
Kevin Hart same way,
Yep.
stand up comic.
Yep.
You know, and I think Hollywood needs to start to evolve in that regard.
I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. Because like that just it just wasn't a good look for Hollywood. And I just think in general, I also don't like the optics of Joe Coy being an Asian man in a majority white audience not giving him anything. Like I don't like
Mhm.
that either. Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
me,
yeah.
I don't like stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's just like the optics of it just weren't great.
right. And then the fact that he only had 10 days to prepare for this is a sign
Yes.
that comedians do not want to do this stuff anymore.
For this exact reason, because like you put
They're getting
yourself.
slapped
Yeah.
by
Yeah, no,
by Will
yeah. First
Smith.
of all, your personal injury
Right, you need
aside,
security along. Right? And when you throw a joke, they're not
they're
laughing.
not laughing.
Why would I do it?
And who I read, was it Michael Shea? Somebody wrote something like that on their
Yeah,
Instagram that like this is why,
yeah,
no one does this. No, comedians don't want to take these
right.
jobs.
So that's why Lex and I will take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll do it.
Give me more than 10
We're
days.
used to not being laughed
And
at, so we'll take it.
the gag, I'm dead.
Yeah,
But many
but
blessings in Joe Coy. I think he's talented.
mhm,
I think he's funny.
yeah,
And as we discussed last week with the Cat Williams situation, being a real stand-up comedian is an art form. That is a gift to be able to do that.
hmm
So more blessings to him. He'll be all right.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to talk about some news, Florida news, before we move on.
Florida. This needs to be a segment. At this point, it needs to be a segment. Florida news.
Florida, our dear state,
Dear-
Florida.
Oh,
It has a spot in our hearts. In my heart, at least. I know
it
it has a spot
does.
in your heart too,
It
for
does.
sure.
And can I just say, I saw a photo because iPhone will give you memories.
Uh-huh.
I had a memory of Greg and I's going away party
Oh
from when
yeah,
we left Florida. We had like a going away party with all of our
yeah.
friends or
At a
whatever
club,
at a club. Well, we had dinner first. There was dinner first, and
of
then we went
course.
to
Can't dance on an empty stomach.
Yeah, of course, priorities. And it has been a little over 5 years since we made our official move.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy. I just wanted to note that.
yeah.
That I mean, Florida still runs thick in our veins because
Oh yeah,
we've spent all of our time there.
yeah. And Florida stays on brand
Stays on
as
brand,
always. There was
messy and chaotic.
yeah. Speaking of messy and chaotic, did you hear about the woman that lost her driveway?
I did,
They
and I was
someone stole her
confused.
driveway.
I was so confused.
So in Apopka, Florida,
Wow.
which is around your parts, ain't it?
Right?
That's
Yeah,
around
yeah. I lived
St.
Apopka
Pete,
adjacent.
Tampa, Sarasota.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So someone stole her driveway.
Mhm.
Did you see this
Yeah,
this
I
driveway? They
did.
pulled it right up on her in front of the
Yeah,
house.
she woke up one morning and her driveway was just
Gone.
gone. And we talking about a driveway. We're talking about a cement driveway.
Full on.
Gone.
Just up out the ground. All you saw was just like dirt. It's like, what is going on in this state?
Oh my gosh, I'm weak.
Yes. But apparently
Mhm.
it is tied to a scam.
It's always tied to a scam in Florida. It's always a scam.
It wasn't a mistake like a contractor went to the wrong house. No,
Mhm.
someone targeted her home
Mm.
as a vessel for a scam.
Wow.
So let me explain the scam to you.
Please break it down.
So, what they do is they'll look for a house that's for sale
Mhm.
on like Trulia or
Sure.
Zillow,
Mhm.
and then they will hire contractors to
Mhm.
come do a job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh, this house, we need this. I need to replace the driveway.
Yeah.
So can you pull it up?"
Mhm.
And they'll put the bids out there, and then
Mhm.
when contractors will accept it or not, and
Mhm.
then they'll accept one,
Mhm.
and then they'll say, "Okay, here's the address."
Mhm.
They give up this address on Trulia,
Sure.
and they say, "I'm out of town, but I'd like for you to get started on the project,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'll pay you."
Yeah.
So they give them a check,
Mhm.
right? They give the contractor a check,
Okay.
the scammer,
Okay.
and then but they put the check above what they asked for, what they quoted. So let's say, "Oh, it'll cost you $2,000,"
Yeah.
right? They'll give them like 2,800,
Okay.
and they'll say, "Oh my god, I made a mistake. I get the check I gave you is 2,800.
Yeah.
can you just send me back 800 real quick
Yeah,
and it will just be settled?
yeah,
Because you quoted me 2,000,
yeah,
and they'll send them to $800 back
yeah.
cash, and then the check will
Void the
bounce.
check.
The check will bounce.
That is a
The
good
check will
scam.
bounce.
That's a scam.
That is a scam. That is such a Florida scam.
I mean, when I'm thinking about the
It's,
logistics, I'm like,
it
I
starts
like
down
that.
there, right? The hot mess of chaos down
I
there.
think it's all the heat and the salt water.
It's the
People
Wild
can't think
West.
straight.
Yeah. So if you're down there in Florida and you're listing your home, definitely keep an eye out for any contractors measuring your properties, doing stuff.
Because they coming for your
They
driveway.
coming for your driveway.
They coming for your driveway, girl.
Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Wow. Keep your head on swivel, y'all.
The scamming capital of the world. I mean, Atlanta is the
Atlanta
scamming
is
capital of the world, but I
I
mean,
Nigeria
I mean,
of America.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
and then all of Florida is a
Was it
close second.
India was up there too.
India is up there too.
Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
y'all, we at Lovers and Things we care about our audience. We want to make sure you guys are safe out there.
What is this, like a PSA?
It's a PSA. But yeah, I just felt like I
Oh my
thought that was something
gosh.
interesting to take away.
That is funny. Funny, funny, funny.
Yeah.
I have some news.
What you got?
And can I just say that I knew I was right about
Okay.
this?
About what?
Halle Bailey having this baby. Like, I just want to say
Okay.
congratulations to the girl
Uh-huh.
because I love Halle Bailey. You know,
Yeah.
I love Chloe and Halle as a group. I loved Halle as the Little Mermaid. I
Mhm.
loved her in The Color Purple. She was very cute. Talented actress, has a lot going for her.
Yeah.
She tried to keep this pregnancy under lock and key.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't happening with me, and with
Ooh.
most women, we peeped it. Like, girl, you look pregnant.
Because you was on it early.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
don't know why, but I'm checking something really quick.
You know what it is? It's
I know
always the change of outfit, right? Like, you got to know someone's
Uh-huh.
personal style. And I peeped the girl's style and energy. And all of a sudden, she was wearing stuff that didn't make sense. All of a sudden, it's blazers and oversized shirts. It's like, where is this coming from? You're like 25. What's the point? This is your peak,
And
girl.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah, you
I
didn't
was like, what are
believe
you talking
it.
about? She could wear a hoodie to an award show.
She can wear a gown
Yeah.
that touches the floor and we see nothing of it. Like, no, she was
Mhm.
pregnant. And she had a little boy with her
Wow.
partner DDG, and the baby's name is Halo.
Oh, congratulations to them.
Isn't that sweet?
Because you was on it early. I was
like,
surprised by that.
she was pregnant. But good
Mhm.
for her. Good for her. I'm glad he seems to be a happy and healthy baby.
Yeah, many blessings to them.
Many blessings to them. We love to see it.
Okay, so our topic for today.
Hot topic.
Hot
Hot topic.
Hot topic.
Hot
Hot
topic.
topic.
Hey, hot topic.
I do not already know where these come from.
Just my mind. Just my mind.
Yeah. So as we start and get into 2024,
Yes, sir.
I wanted us to highlight some home decor trends that we definitely should be leaving in 2023.
Yes. And can I just say, for those of you that are new, I'm assuming some of you may be new from YouTube, TikTok, or whatever. But Lovers and Things podcast, yes, we talk about all the fun stuff. We talk about culture, Black culture specifically, and all that jazz. But one of the things that we are really focused on is this idea of creating a safe and happy home. That's really one of the core pillars of our podcast. And so every now and then we like to bring in a little bit of home inspiration to you all from a style and functional perspective. And so
Mhm.
I think that's what we're about to do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we want to make sure everyone's is moving towards the next wave, the next trends.
We're up.
Right?
Only up from here.
Yeah, we're only going up.
Absolutely.
So I think we should just go back and forth of things that
Mm,
we should leave behind in 2023
yeah.
and offer our reasons why and some alternates.
I love that. And again, these are our perspective based on our personal style. We are mid-century modern minimalists
Mhm.
to some degree. And so these are just our thoughts. One of the things that I want us to leave in 2023 from a home perspective, y'all, I think we need to leave the all white and all gray homes in 2023.
All white,
And all
all
gray
gray
homes.
homes.
And what I
Okay.
mean by that is if we have we walk into your living room and you got white walls, a light cream couch, you got a light wood situation, like everything is just very white, very clean,
yeah.
no real character or color. That was a wave for a
Gray
while.
overload.
Gray overload is also another one of those things. Millennial gray is actually a term.
Mhm.
When this idea of
Yeah.
like a lot of people in their like late 20s and 30s just love this idea of gray everything, gray cabinets, gray sofas, gray like everything is gray. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
If it's all white, if it's all gray, we're not doing it anymore. Now, If your home has a foundation of white walls or a foundation of gray walls or a foundational gray couch, absolutely that's fine. But I think an alternative here is to start adding in more playful colors.
Mhm.
I think color is actually coming back. There was a 5-year stretch where color was an absolutely
Yeah.
no-no, but it's
Like
coming back.
stark minimalist
Stark
and
minimalism, and we
yeah.
have been victim of that
Mhm.
to some degree. Like, we've done the things.
Yeah, in our last
Um
spot, I remember we had that. Yeah.
Our last house was a more industrial modern, and so everything was
Mhm.
very stark and gray. And while it was a vibe, I do think that style is, kind of transitioning out. Everything has a season.
Yeah.
So I think bringing warmth and color back into the home is going to be really important. There are simple and easy ways to do that, of course. You can play around with paint, a very non-committal way to bring color back into the home.
Right.
One of the things that I personally plan on doing is painting my office
Mhm.
this sort of burnt sienna, almost brownish pink
Yeah.
in a more of an opaque sort of finish. But that's what I'm going to do. I am personally going to be doing this as well. Just bringing some more
Bring some
color and
color.
character into the home. But we can't do all white anymore, y'all.
Yeah.
It's not giving. It's
Mix it
not
up.
giving. Mix it up. So that's my first one. What you got?
Yeah, and definitely in the same vein of mixing up, I think marble has had us in a chokehold,
Marble.
uh,
That's a good
for,
one.
them flippers, especially them New Jersey
Ooh,
flippers. Y'all know who
ooh.
y'all are.
Yeah, we calling y'all out.
Every single New Jersey
Oh my
flip has
god.
had marble overload.
There's this one house that we were looking at that's one house over from ours
Oh, I remember
actually.
that one, yeah.
Literally everything was marble in
Every
that home.
surface in the kitchen was marble. The island,
Yeah,
the backsplash, and
everything.
then, like, there was a wall that had marble.
Literally a wall, an entire wall in the home was marble. And the
Marble
first thing we
tile.
thought was, well, this is a full gut reno. Like, you
It's
gotta
like
rip it all out.
marble should not be, the main attention.
Yeah.
Marble should be a backdrop
Hmm.
to, everything else,
Yeah.
right? It should, and the veining of it needs to be minimal, right? I think that
Hmm.
was another thing that was really stark about that home we were referencing is
Yeah.
that the veining on the marbling was so, like, stark, and it's
Heavy, dark.
very dark.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely let's relax on the marble, y'all. Like, keep it
Hmm.
restrained, keep the veining minimal, and like I think it's nice when it's like one material, like
I agree.
one not one material, one aspect of
Mm,
the space,
I know
like
what you meant.
the island.
Mhm.
Let's just have the island be marble, or
Mhm.
the backsplash. Let's just
Yeah.
have that. Not everything.
Mhm.
So that's the thing we should consider leaving behind,
Mhm.
and that's how we should take it in 2024. If you are
Mhm.
going to use marble, just keep it to one element
Yeah.
and not the overall attention
I agree. I
of
think
the space.
marble's meant to be more of an accent, the way that most sort of materials that aren't just like, normal use are.
Hmm.
And one of the examples of this too, I would say, is in our bathrooms. Our bathrooms, when we bought this house, are marble heavy.
Yeah,
And so we have tried to figure out ways to like not make it feel so
detract from it.
stark.
Hmm.
And it's a bit of a task, but I think that's a good one.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I know we've put in wood shelving to kind of
Mhm.
contrast it a
Yeah.
bit, and
Yeah.
painted the color with a little bit of the downstairs bathroom has like
Mhm.
a little bit of blue
Mhm.
in the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something we should leave behind, or if we're gonna bring it to 24, exercise some restraint.
Exercise some restraint.
Marble.
I love that. Exercise some restraint.
Hmm.
All right, I've got another one.
Okay.
Single tone hardware.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So, your hardware in your house are your knobs, your accents, like stuff like that. I think having one single tone of hardware, gold in particular, is out. Gold accents everywhere. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Okay.
I think gold as a metal for decor in general is no longer the wave. I like brass a little bit more. I like brushed nickel and silver a little bit more. I think those are more modern approaches to accents in the home.
Okay.
So the all gold or the all black or the all whatever, I think you got to get rid of it.
Okay.
I think in the vein of bringing more personality and just like a mix to your home, I think it's okay to mix metals. And I know people are afraid to do that. People are afraid to do that with their jewelry. People don't like mixing their jewelry
Uh-huh.
metals, and
Yeah.
people certainly don't like doing it in the homes. But I think that you can do it in a way that is tasteful. So,
And complimentary. Yeah.
and complementary. Let's say, for instance, you're looking to update your bathroom. Let's say you have brushed nickel or chrome in there. That's usually standard in most homes, right?
Yeah.
Everything. That's a little bit stark. Perhaps we update it to maybe we have a matte black
Faucet.
faucet and handle situation, and then a nice sort of copper metal mirror that's right above it. Like you're
Right.
mixing complementary metals there, so it doesn't feel like it's just all one
All black,
thing.
black, black, black. Everywhere is just black. Yeah.
Exactly. I've seen people do brushed nickel and with wood as
Yeah.
well as like the accent. Like there are ways to balance things that just bring a little more character. And so I think that's my recommendation. And it's small fixes that you can actually do. Hardware, sink faucets, knobs on your cabinets in your kitchen are very low cost things to update.
Yeah.
So let's say for instance you wanted to do a refresh in your kitchen of your knobs that are like a really reflective gold.
Mm-hmm.
Head on over to Lowe's, Home Depot if you prefer, but Lowe's is our preferred partner here on Lovers and Things.
Yes.
And you can choose some knobs for like $40. You get a bunch of knobs, turn out your knobs on your kitchen cabinetry,
Right.
and you all of a sudden have a
Have
brand new
a
look.
fresh new look. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's when you look at the home overall is where you don't want to overdo it.
Yep.
Like going from space to space. Let's say your bathroom is all black hardware.
Mhm.
Yes, fine.
Mhm.
When you move into the kitchen, maybe consider, like you're saying, a brush nickel.
Mhm.
Just so it's just like as you move into spaces, just okay, this theme is just continued. You want to have a
Mhm.
little bit of flex and variety in your space.
Yep.
I think that's really what you're preaching.
Yeah, variety.
Yeah, and I think also if you do have like let's say because black hardware is the most stark color
It
of
is.
metal hardware.
Mhm.
Consider the color that's surrounding it. So
Mhm.
like you're saying earlier, like maybe consider not using white right up
Mhm.
against it.
Mhm.
Maybe use like a black. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, not black, like a light gray or a colored wall paint near it to just not allow it to stand out so much.
Mhm.
I think that's one way to do it well
I love that
in
idea.
24.
It's like balancing it a little bit, giving it a little bit of a warm, a
Some
cushy place to land.
some variety, some balance.
Some
Yeah.
balance. I love that. Balance.
And this one it's very controversial. And I
Oh
know people love these
God.
things in their home. They love them. Once they
Here
have
we
these, they
go.
love these things. But
I know where you're going with this.
barn doors, get rid of them. No more barn doors in 24.
Sorry, y'all. I hate to tell you.
I don't know what to say. Consider other things, which I will give you some alternatives. But barn doors got to go. No more new barn doors. Barn doors craze has gotten so bad.
Yeah.
We were in Lowe's once, and we saw a vanity.
Mhm.
Tell me why the little cabinet door on the vanity was a barn door.
Like, and at that point, I'm like, this is getting out of hand.
Barn door
This is
overload.
getting out of hand. Who do I report this to?
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, nah. No.
You got your oven gonna have a barn door next? Like your microwave gonna be a barn
It's
door?
like, no, this is crazy.
Too many barn doors.
You know who I blame
What's that?
for all things too home and cozy and woody?
Uh-huh.
That darn Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Chip and Joanna
To this day, they got a chokehold on y'all home decor.
That Magnolia company.
Good God.
We got to release ourselves at the barn doors.
I think we got to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of barn doors, consider pocket doors. Basically the doors that like slide into the wall.
I love
Let's say you don't have good
door.
swing out space. That's the reason why you had the barn door.
Yep.
Make it go inside the wall. Pocket doors.
Very sleek.
Very sleek, very minimal. Also, when they're tucked into the wall, it makes the space look more open and more free flowing. So that's a nice aspect of that. Consider pocket doors.
Yeah.
Another option, I would say, if you really want to add some flair on your interior doors, change the hardware. Add some detail in that regard. We switched our hardwares to like the black joints, hinges. Sorry, not joints, hinges and handles. Switched up the shape of it as well.
Yeah, we updated them all together.
Consider the door paneling as well. And consider changing that if you want to switch the doors entirely to a different type of pattern on the wood surface. Consider that as well.
Yep.
But please let go of the barn doors.
Yeah.
Like, let's
And
let
it's
that go.
honestly not functional. I mean, to some degree, it's not functional. They're meant to be statement pieces. And I know for a lot of people, that's why they like them as well, because it feels like a statement. But there are other ways that you can bring statements into the doors in your home as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't require them being, slats of wood. That, to be
with the big old
fair,
wheels on it. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the other thing about barn doors is that depending, like, I think barn doors for the bathroom is a terrible idea because bathrooms should be in closed spaces.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because the
like,
smells and
yeah,
sounds.
like smells and sounds.
There's no seal on the barn door.
Don't do that.
It's a barn door.
It's a barn door. Like, don't do
Yeah,
that. But same thing for like bedrooms and things like that. Like, I understand for spaces that are more studio, you may want
like
something
into
like
an
there.
office, people might
Yeah,
prefer it.
perhaps, but I think there are more elegant ways
Yeah,
that you can go
yeah.
around it.
Try a pocket door.
Try a
That's
pocket
the
door.
first stop I will take.
Good idea, babe. I have one,
Yeah.
and this is also Chip and Joanna Gaines this fall. And look, I'm not gonna lie and say that I ain't never watched their show. I love
Oh,
their show.
this show is amazing.
Top tier programming, and I actually love them as a couple and what they've
Yeah,
built together. I think they're still together. Are they still together?
I would hope so.
Look, they still together in my mind.
Yeah,
They're
in my mind and spirit.
in my mind and spirit, they still together.
Yeah.
But shiplap is another
Oh
one of these
wow, yeah,
things
shiplap
that, for whatever reason, has
took
taken
over.
over the world.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I think shiplap, like barn doors, are very specific design choice
Mhm.
made for homes that feel more country inspired,
Mhm.
a little rough around the edges, but not in a bad way. You describe these homes as
Like
cozy
an American
and
rustic.
rustic, like those
Yeah.
sorts of sort of terms. But y'all be putting shiplap in your on your bathroom walls. Y'all put shiplap in your kitchens, and it's just
The baby room done got
the baby
shiplap.
room got shiplap, and it says Aiden in big letter. Like, it's a little
A
strange,
little
a
aided.
little Aiden. Like, it's a little strange, but
Aided.
I think the
Oh boy.
reason people do that is because we like the idea of an accent wall, right?
Of course, yeah.
Which I think is still noteworthy. But I also think that, the idea of adding wood and texture to your home is really fun. So I don't want us to lose that idea. I just want to elevate it a little bit and make it a little more a little more sustainable. And so what I'm going to recommend is that we explore different ways of doing board and batten in our
Ah,
home.
yes.
Board and batten is a fancy way of saying you putting little pieces of wood in little
Patterns,
rectangular
yeah.
and square patterns in your home.
Mhm.
But when done well, it's actually really pretty.
Mhm.
And there are a number of ways that you can bring board and batten into your home. You can do an entire wall, you can do an entire room. A lot of people like using it in their formal dining spaces, bedrooms, and things like that.
Yeah.
But the thing about board and batten is that it's usually melts into the wall and is more of a texture feature as opposed to the feature of the
Yeah.
wall,
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't
Like, it's
take
usually
over the
painted
space too
white
much.
or whatever color the rest of the wall is, so it's more of a texture.
Mhm.
And so I just think it ages a little more gracefully, and is just a little more palatable. Now, look, again, if you have a country inspired home or rustic inspired home and you have shiplap, please keep it
Of
because
course.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if shiplap needs to be in your industrial studio in Brooklyn. And that's all I'm saying.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, which segues perfectly to the thing we need to leave behind. I think we kind of covered all that.
Mhm.
Is in 2024 we need to start honoring the
Mm,
environment and the architecture around us
yeah.
and in the existing space.
Mhm.
Um, you ever drive down a neighborhood and you're admiring the homes, and then out of nowhere, like a home that does not even match any of the architecture around it is erected,
Mm,
and then you're like, that just doesn't feel right.
yeah.
It stands out like a sore thumb.
Mhm.
I think I think we have to look at home. We have to zoom out a bit when we're looking at architecture for your home, particularly exterior.
Mhm.
And we'll get into interior, but you have these ideas for a home.
Mhm.
Think about it, lay it down, but then zoom out.
Mhm.
Look at the block.
Yeah.
Does it make sense in the block? Will it stand out in a good way or will it
Mhm.
stand out in a bad way?
Yeah.
Will it be contrarian in a wow, that's admirable, or
Mhm.
contrarian, wow, that's just
It doesn't
distasteful.
make
That's
sense.
just odd,
Mhm.
and coming from an older neighborhood,
Mhm.
we see this all the time. We see
Yeah.
all these amazing ideas being executed on, but and also sometimes you can see people that have taken it too far.
Mhm.
And we have this one block that has all these dope like modern homes, but they
Yeah.
still respect
Mhm.
the areas. Look at like in New Jersey, a lot siding is like a big aspect of
Yeah.
exterior design.
Mhm.
Same way like when you go down to Florida, it's like
Mhm.
stucco
Mhm.
and cement.
Mhm.
But in New Jersey, like siding is king, and you just have to accept it
Yeah, it
and
is what
work
it is.
around it and play with different aspects of siding. But
Mhm.
you should do siding.
Yeah.
We saw this one home. It's essentially a McMansion that's being stood up.
Mhm.
The exterior facade is literally covered in marble. It's covered in marble.
It's within walking distance of our home, and it hurts my heart every time I pass
It
by.
looks like someone plucked a Miami
Yeah.
mansion
Mhm.
and put it in the middle of the Northeast,
It's very
which it's very
confusing.
confusing. Objectively, a beautiful home.
Yes, yes.
Objectively, very
Very much.
geometric, very
Yeah.
modern,
Mhm.
but it does not honor the environment
Yeah.
around it.
Mhm.
And that is something that we always have to consider
Mhm.
in our choices
Mhm.
is, yes, we love this,
Yeah.
but you're not in Miami.
Yeah.
You're not in Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, you're not in Portland, like,
Yeah.
you're not in Arizona.
Mhm.
You're not in the Northeast,
Yeah.
like, you're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you gotta match the Atlanta aesthetic.
Mhm.
You're in Houston, you need to match
You
that
gotta
aesthetic.
gotta look like Houston.
Right, and just honoring that. I think
Mhm.
and to continue that point, there's another, aspect of this that we have to also honor the architecture naturally inside the home.
Mhm.
You know, like you're saying, shiplap doesn't make sense inside of a home that the exterior facade
Mhm.
is maybe a Miami modern,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Maybe it could work, maybe it couldn't work, but just
Mhm.
always consider that
Yeah.
and consider those choices. Hyper minimalism
Mhm.
inside of in like Arizona probably wouldn't make sense because
Yeah.
Arizona is like really, like clay colored
Mhm.
and brownish tones and things like that. So considering the environment, the natural architecture of the home to support it.
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing we should take into 2024
Mm.
is making choices not because of trends and what's hot right now,
Mhm.
but making choices because of what would honor the community, the neighboring elements
I like
of the
that.
environment, as well as the natural architecture
Mhm.
of the home.
I like that. I think that's a very good idea. I love
Yeah.
that.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, babe. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. I think that's a good sort of mantra to bring into 2024 from a
Hmm.
personal and design perspective. Which brings us to everyone's favorite segment,
Things
things
we
we love.
love. Shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. We'll be able to afford a producer
Pew
to do
pew 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 pew
effects soon.
pew. Right now, we don't have a budget. But yeah, so 2024 things that we love. So in the same vein of things that we're leaving in 2023 from a design home perspective,
Uh huh.
we're gonna highlight a couple of things that we're like, hey, these are things that we feel like are the move, are the next sort of
The
wave
wave.
from an interior design perspective specifically. Wow,
Hmm.
say that 10 times fast. So can I go first?
Of course.
All right. So this is kind of inspired by what I was saying earlier, this idea of like getting away from the all white and the all gray and bringing in a little more razzle dazzle to your life.
Yeah.
But this year, Pantone's color of the year, if you guys don't know, Pantone every year gives out like a color of the year that usually inspires largely fashion, right? Like the color of the year will inspire fashion. You'll see whatever color they come out show up at like your Zara's and Forever 21s in like
Yeah.
8 months.
They
But
set the
they
tone for
set
the
the
year.
tone of what the energy is going to be. And I like to pay attention to Pantone because it's just fun. Well, this year their color of the year is peach fuzz,
Peach fuzz.
and
Okay.
it's this delightful sort of diluted peach. I mean,
Mm.
that's really what it is. Like it's a soft, like white. If you took a traditional peach and threw a little white in it, that's what it looks like. It's
Okay.
like a lighter diluted peach color.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting, but it kind of speaks to this idea of warm colors coming back. For a long time, for the last couple of years, Pantone's color of the year were cooler tone things, things
Hmm.
that were bluish, cool greenish. One year it was something close to gray. Like it was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was the vibe.
Right.
But now that it seems like we're bringing more fun, exciting, warm colors into the mix, I think it's time for us to incorporate that into our interior design. I told you guys I'm doing it myself for my office, and I'm just excited to see more of it. I don't think I will ever be the type of person who is going to design my home with tons of color in it,
Hmm.
because I like how well it ages for you to have, a neutral background to things. But I do like the idea of bringing it in through ways of rugs and throw pillows and even curtains if I wanted to.
Right.
Things like I can easily turn over in the home. And I encourage you guys to do the same because warm colors are back. So I think 2024, that is the wave. It's already started to happen. If you've been to like your local Targets and even in your West Elms, not CB2. We went to CB2 recently and it's still stark. It's all outdoors. But
Yeah.
in other places, you're beginning to see this become more available to the masses at like the mass level,
Mhm.
which means at the higher level where things are being designed and ideated, that those conversations are starting to happen too.
Yeah.
So get ahead of the wave, start seeing what sort of color speaks to you and makes you happy. I think that's the thing about color. Not every color works for every person, but color is supposed to make you happy
Yeah.
and what inspires you. So start bringing that into your home, and I'll keep you guys updated on how this office comes together
I love it.
because I'm excited. I think it's nice.
Yeah, I can't wait for us to get into that because I
Mhm.
think you have one of the things that element of your office is during the fall, the
Mhm.
trees outside of the window turn
Yeah.
bright red,
Yeah,
right?
they do.
So that red naturally glows on the walls.
It's so
So I think
pretty.
it'll be cool to see what you play with from a paint
Mhm.
perspective to
Mhm.
kind of like support that
Yeah.
backdrop.
Mhm.
Again, honoring your environment, you
Yes,
know?
very much so. That's a good call, babe, for sure.
I love that. One thing that we definitely need to start embracing,
Mhm.
honestly, not by choice, but
Mhm.
this is a trend that is happening, and we just gotta accept it.
Yeah.
Is checkerboard patterns.
Yeah.
You
You ain't
know,
like it at first.
I know Chevron has had a chokehold on us in the
Mhm.
2010s,
Mhm.
early 2020s,
Mhm.
but now we're moving as a collective society.
We are all holding hands on this. We're doing
Yeah,
it.
we're moving into checker patterns,
Mhm.
and you're gonna see it executed nicely on rugs in particular.
Mhm.
That's kind of where you will be able to really leverage the most out of checker pattern.
Mhm.
I mean, even you saw, I mean, even in fashion,
Mhm.
Louis Vuitton had their men's collection drop, and they
Mhm.
really leaned into that checkerboard pattern
Yep.
to kind of backdrop the clothing and the
Mhm.
fabric
Mhm.
choices. So it's actually from a luxury space, that's kind of the wave. I mean, Bottega Veneta has always had their checkerboard
Yeah, that's their thing.
woven trend,
Mhm.
and I think you'll see that as an element because I personally think a checkerboard pattern, especially when the squares are not super contrasted, but
Mhm.
like you have a dark brown next to a light brown square,
Mhm.
not necessarily like a black next to a light brown, but
Yeah.
like a dark brown next to a light brown.
Mhm.
I think it just something about it has a woven feel to it, and I
Mm.
think it just makes it feel less stark of a
Yeah.
contrast.
Mhm.
And coziness is the wave of 24, and
Mhm.
and you'll see that a lot in
Mhm.
the choices of interior designers around the world. But
Yeah.
I think the checkerboard provides a nice bit of patterning, but that's also like subtle
Mhm.
because of the adjacent squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I
one
love
thing.
it.
I think for things I love that I'm gonna link into the show notes, it's
Mhm.
going to be Ruggable's checkerboard rug.
Mhm.
Ruggable is known for having just top surface that you can remove and put in a
Mhm.
washer.
Yeah, very good
So
for high traffic areas, and if you have kids and you know that they're gonna spill stuff on your rug, Ruggable is a good option for those things.
exactly.
Mhm.
So that's one thing I love is the checkered pattern.
I do
And
too.
I
I
think
love
I
it.
might try to incorporate it into clothing.
You
I'm not gonna buy
should.
Louis Vuitton, but I think if I find a shirt, like a nice knitted
Mhm.
uh polo
Yeah.
for the summer, if it's checkerboard, that
Yeah.
could be a nice wave.
That could be
And
a
some straight line
vibe.
pants, like
Mhm. The contrasting pattern on that is a move,
it's a
honey.
look.
Wow.
It's a look.
Look at you.
Gosh. What you
Oh
got?
gosh.
What's
Okay.
the thing you love for this
Um,
episode?
the next thing that I love, and it's the last one, is this idea. Y'all know I love ideas. I'm always so up in the air, honey.
Mm,
I can't ever ground nothing. But this is the idea of curves and character in your home.
okay,
Same way things were very stark and minimal. What comes with that in interior design is often angularity. A lot of angular things,
right.
things that are very boxy and that sort of stuff. And so
Industrialized.
industrialized, which is fine. That's a wave. But the same way warmth is coming back is the same way its sister curve in circular, more rounded things are coming back. I honestly think from a design perspective, those things go hand in hand for whatever reason.
Okay.
Whenever you look at sort of mid-century modern things, it is usually more minimal on the coloring side of things. And when you think of let's say for instance, we're going to think more indie inspired things where there's more color, things are a little more fluid. For whatever reason, those things kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So with warm things, we're bringing in things that have a little more character, a little more curve. And so I'm excited to bring that into the home. And the thing that I love is this one website that I stumbled upon that has so many fun character pieces for your home
Oh,
that are
yeah.
in so many shapes and sizes and textures. And it's this place called interioricons.com.
Mm.
Very, very cool. If you're looking for statement pieces that definitely encompass curves and character, it's going to be from interioricons.com. I've already identified a coffee table that I want to buy for our new
Yeah.
studio setup that we're going to have
Yeah.
in the future, y'all. In the future, it ain't happening tomorrow or
Yeah.
anything. But I love that idea, and I think for me, because I'm such a you guys look, if you can see me, if you watch us on YouTube, you can literally tell I have on black and white right
Yeah,
now.
she's about to hop on a Harley
Like,
next.
I just because it's my vibe, like, I just am so minimal that way, so I'm interested to push myself from an interior design and style perspective to do things that are just a little more characterful and
Yeah.
fun, and so I'm encouraging you all to do the same and to visit interioricons.com and identify an item that speaks to you.
Yeah, you can get
Because
lost
there's
on that
so
site.
many there's so much cool stuff on there, that you wouldn't expect and isn't available at your normal local decor or furniture store.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the last thing I love for this week.
I love that. In a similar vein,
Mhm.
I think for 2024, what we should bring into our homes
Mhm.
is structured art. Um,
Mm.
I think yes, we've had a time with paintings
Mhm.
and things that are relatively flat. We've played
Mhm.
with textured paintings,
Mhm.
but I think 2024 and beyond is going to be the era of more wall decor.
Mm.
Things that are, on your wall that is just like three-dimensional, a sculpture
Mhm.
that changes as the sun moves past it and the
Yeah.
shadows cast off of it.
Mhm.
Your night lighting casts the shadow off of it. You're looking at it at different angles and you're getting a new experience.
Mhm.
Just leaning into those sculptured art pieces
Mhm.
is, I think, the challenge that I'm going to put on everybody that's
Yeah.
listening
Yeah.
is to buy a piece that is on your wall that has
Yeah.
three dimensionality to it.
Three
Three-dimensionality,
dimensionality.
is that even a word?
Yes, Poppy, that makes
We'll
sense.
take it. We'll take it. So to help you guys get started, I'm going to suggest a piece from the website, the Tapin Collective,
Mhm.
which is essentially like this site that has a curation of artists and interior designers, product designers
Mhm.
of different backgrounds that
Mhm.
showcase their pieces, and they have one piece from a interior designer named Jessica Sellinger.
Mhm.
It's part of their Wave collection of wall sculptures,
Mhm.
and this piece, like, we getting it. We gonna get
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, and I'm
It's dope.
excited to see where we're gonna put it because it's gorgeous,
Yeah,
y'all.
it's a ceramic piece that
Mhm.
goes on the wall. It's textured with like a clay
Mhm.
feel to it. But it looks like if you took like a heavyweight leather or
Mhm.
heavyweight leather fabric and you
Yeah.
like squished it a bit
Yep.
and
Yep.
allowed the wrinkles to form and things
Mhm.
like that. And now imagine you take that squished up section of leather
Mhm.
or fabric and you just put it up on a wall and it just
Yeah.
holds that position.
Beautiful.
It's so dope.
Yeah.
It's so dope. So I'm gonna put a link in the show notes so you guys can check that one out.
Mhm.
Um, but it's great. And Jessica Sellinger herself is, she works particularly with clay
Mhm.
as her medium
Mhm.
and creates these pieces by hand.
Yeah.
So this piece, if you do choose to buy it, it's handmade.
Mhm.
And, it's essentially a contemporary approach to traditional methods,
Yeah.
right? So it's a nice blend of the future
Mhm.
and those traditional methods in that regard.
Mhm.
So yeah, check it out. I know I'm gonna put that on the list for us to buy. We'll have to put that on
Yeah.
our things to buy list because that's the
Mhm.
thing that I love is that like structured piece. Like
It's
it comes in
gorgeous.
different colors.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a cooler colored home, there's one that's like a light blue. That's like
Mhm.
a stark blue. Really, it's
It's blue blue.
it's
It's
blue
like
blue.
royal blue.
Yeah. And then there's, if you have a warmer home, there's a terracotta, which I think we might go with.
Yep.
And then there's a black one that's so dope.
Mhm.
Like I wish we could get that one,
Yeah.
but we got too much black in our home.
We are
You
the
know,
black home, the black and
yeah.
white
So
home.
we'll probably go with the terracotta
Yep.
color to bring a little bit of warmth to the walls and
Mhm.
depth and structure. And it's pieces that make you stop and like really want to get close to it and move
Yeah.
around it.
Mhm.
That's a cool thing of these types of art pieces
Mhm.
compared to like framed paintings or
Mhm.
photography is that you get it, you kind of get it one time because it's two dimensional.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think we should all explore structured art for 2024.
I love that. Look at us growing and
Yeah.
evolving right before the people's eyes.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's a new year,
It's a new season.
new
It's a new
things to
day.
try.
I love that.
So yeah, you got anything else of things you love, or are we
No,
good?
that was it for me. I think all encompassing, everything we talked about today was very much this idea of trying new things,
Yeah,
evolving, and not being afraid to change. I think interior design, personal style, all that stuff can be tied to being a representation of you, and we all change throughout the
yeah.
year, every day looks a little different. So I want us all to be comfortable trying new things. I think that's the calling card, the CTA for today, the call to action for today. Again, public
Call
relations. The
okay.
call to action for today is to embrace the change.
Embrace the change,
Embrace
y'all.
the change. Try something new.
Try something new. Speaking
Oh,
of something new, oh
oh, go no. Oh no.
you got something new.
I do got something to say. What you
We're
gonna
like
say?
Spider Man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say to try something new.
Uh-huh.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's new.
We got the visuals on deck.
Yes, yes, yes,
You know,
yes.
check them out, y'all.
We're so proud.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep pouring into that. We're gonna
Mhm.
provide clips there,
Mhm.
shorts, things of that
Shorts.
nature, and also the full ep, of
Yes.
course. If you like to watch YouTube or podcasts on television
Mhm.
or have it on in your home,
Yep.
we're gonna be providing content that way to you guys.
Mhm.
Full eps will be there.
Yes, sir.
We're aiming for Tuesdays.
Yeah.
If not Tuesdays, Wednesdays. If
It's
not
coming.
Wednesdays, Thursday. You
Thursdays.
go
Remember
get them.
Thursdays is right.
But we're aiming for Tuesdays. You'll get the full app. We definitely
Yeah.
always post the link on
Mhm.
YouTube. We want all of our people that subscribe to our podcast audio only
Yeah.
to also subscribe to us on YouTube as
Yes.
well.
Mhm.
Because I think it's cool to connect with us, you know, with the visuals.
See who you talking to.
See
You gotta know who you talking to. Who
Yeah.
pouring into your spirit every week. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Get a good
you
look
gotta
at
see the
them.
inflection
Yeah,
in our
get a good look
faces.
at us.
Right.
That
But
was
yeah,
good,
but you were
Eddie.
gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
Nothing that important. I think that's it.
All right.
Fantastic. Good work.
Well, I'm gonna try to get this right. Well, this was yet another episode
Ah.
of the Lovers and Things podcast.
Mhm.
Keep loving your things.
And loving your people. It's so, so important.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.